audio fixed. There we go. At least I noticed it before. How's it going, everybody? Happy Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, depending on where you are. But today we're here with this ripper. This is a ripper we started working on a live feed, I don't know, well over a month ago. It's been a little while. But anyway, today we're going to do something that I had talked about in the live stream, I believe. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I only talked to him about it afterwards. But this ripper belongs to Brandon Wilson. He sent me, it was an unused or unopened, it's a weird term with a ripper, but it had been unbuilt. So it came with a box and all of the parts, and then we assembled it. So what I plan to do, though, is Brandon's got basically, he found a lot of unicorn parts, which are, you know, just little things here and there with some lights and setting things that he wanted to put in there. And then he's just got, you know, the standard motor ESC and all that. However, it can be difficult to get everything into a ripper because it's a caged vehicle, and like a lot of caged vehicles, space can be at a bit of a premium because you don't just get to take the body off and get to things. So you have to put it in, get to, you know, put them wherever you want. So what I decided to do was make a electronics shelf, we'll call it like a, and we're going to go over that and install that today. So thanks everybody for joining in on the early stream. Did I lose the screwdriver? Okay, so as the panels come off, so inside of the chassis, as you would normally expect, this does have MS Tech frame rails. So MS Tech frame rails have little link risers that come up, and let me see if I can. So if you look right here, you can see that little riser up. There's a bolt in it already. It's basically like an upper link riser that's milled into the aluminum C-channel chassis. So it's a aftermarket chassis that was made for a short amount of time, wasn't you know, widely available because of just how early in the scale game that it was actually produced. So anyway, I designed the tray that goes in this to mount off of those link risers. All right, remove the hood and that side panel already. So here is the, so I've got three here. The two yesterday I cut as prototypes out of textured ABS. And this one, I didn't make it that design. It was just the piece that I was using, had a cut out of it already. But I was mainly testing the screw hole locations. So, and then this one was a final version that was slotted just to make sure. But how this is gonna go is you kind of put it in there and rotate to get it to fall in. And then it will drop down like so. Come on. It's a very snug fit, but it drops in just like that. So you can see how it fits. Now, that is just resting in there. I actually also have to install these 3D printed mounts that I made. So that's what we're doing today. And the final version, I cut out of carbon fiber and I milled in the ripper serial number. This one, this is number 133. So that's what we're doing today. From there, I will try and read as many comments as possible and respond appropriately. So anyway, let's jump in. Josh, what qualifies a vehicle for Axial Fest? Axial Fest put out the kind of guidelines every year, but generally it needs to use either an axial chassis or a direct aftermarket replacement for an axial chassis. So you can't go take a Gen 8 chassis axial. You can't take a TRX4 chassis with axial axles, things like that. The axles need to be axial based, meaning like they started as an SCX-10.2 or they were designed to be upgrades for an SCX-10.2, things like that. Same goes for the transmission. So axles, transmission, chassis need to fit, all three of them need to fit into that criteria. So there you go. Anyway. And let's go into you made an IKEA interior shelf? Pretty close, I agree. I would not be opposed to you switching labels on return pack. You're right, right? Send your capper this one. Both are going east, but different locations. I have a 7 MX tails here without the link risers. Yes, the early ones did not have the risers. The ones with risers came slightly after. Still worth a good chunk of money though. Will you be putting said tray in my Ripper? So my Ripper does not have this frame rail set. So for me to put one like this in it, I'll have to design up a slightly different design. So I can't put this exact one in, but honestly, I kind of like how this whole thing went together the last couple of, yesterday and today. So I will likely try and come up with a very similar setup for mine, just because I actually really like this. Okay. It is a snug fit. I could have maybe gone a little bit more conservative on space, but I tried to maximize the amount of surface area that this has. So Brandon's got a Mamba X to put in there. This is a NSDRC. I believe it's a voltage regulator. So it gives the servo the full amount of power no matter the battery voltage. And I think it's 14 volts, even if you're running a 3S 11 volt battery. So, yeah. And, sorry. I missed some comments. Sorry, if I miss anything, I'm not doing it on purpose, obviously. Enjoying my Sunday evening on a sunny cup of coffee and a live. Cheers from the Netherlands. Thank you for watching. I'm also coffee in hand, but at a different time of the day. Don't read this comment. It's nothing. Tough. That blue anodized. Honestly, the blue does look fantastic. This blue is always one of the great looking colors. No matter the color of the body panels that go with it, the blue is always just a fantastic look. It pops. It looks great in video. This lighting is good, but this color is great. So I didn't realize this stream was open to the public. Thought you would have to need a Ripper serial number. Building my first VS410 Pro. Is there anything I need to watch out for? Man, not really. It's a pretty straightforward build. Just follow the instructions, have a good time. There really shouldn't be anything that you need to like watch out for a pitfall on or anything like that. It's a pretty easy going deal. And now the only thing with this is that I am trying to be fairly careful because obviously working around all this, I don't want to scratch it or things like that, but we'll do our best. Now, I had already installed these front two mounts yesterday when I was checking the prototypes. However, I need to take them out because I still need to actually tap them for the plastic or for the screws. I have a M3 tap in. This is the little tool adapter that we make at Vanquish, and it's just a regular 1/4 inch tool adapter with a set screw, so you can put things into it. Made it for stuff like this because I was just like, it's just easier, and I like to use this type of driver rather than like my regular drill with a chuck. So it's handy to have, especially for 3D prints. So I don't fully tap through a lot of this stuff. Sometimes I'll just start the tap, go approximately halfway. That way the screw starts, goes in there, and then the last half of the threads or whatever, it'll cut its own threads, which is always fine. Okay. And I've still got one mount in the chassis that we need to pull out. And just in case I happen to break anything or on those mounts, I printed another set of them. But if I don't need them, I'll just throw them in the box and send them to Brandon. So that way he has some extras in case anything were to happen, since it is just 3D printed material. All right. Let's take the, well, we're going to take the roof off, even though that really doesn't give you any more access, but the roof panel is the only panel on here that's not an actual like CNC milled. It's CNC laser cut and then just bent, but it's not the full CNC milled roof panel, just because that it seemed excessive. Okay, that helped not at all, but at least I can see. I'm gonna go with my little box end wrench. Okay, there we go. All right, we gotta tap this one, and then we'll be ready to reinstall. All right, that's done. Now, the other thing that I haven't done is I didn't install the motor on this, and I feel like that might be a good catch to do now. Just because, granted, this whole thing has to be wired, but I am going to leave that up to Brandon. So, but I think I at least want to install the motor. And I don't think I can actually get to it without pulling the transmission. So we're going to carefully set it down and support it as we remove. Yes, that's exactly what I need. Does the bit need to have a flat side for the set screw to no, my tap doesn't, but it depends on how much force you're putting on something. So if you're not going crazy high force like a tap like that, I've tapped aluminum with that bit like that, and it's just a regular single set screw holding it, so. Okay. Let the drive shafts fall. There we go. White gloves too. Now, I'm not going that far, but this is a, what is this? This is a Three Brothers motor. Kratos 6. 3,800 kV. A little spicy on the motor choice, Brandon. That's okay. I won't hold it against you. So, you do need to grab a couple of pieces of hardware, though. Okay, reading some comments. Asking Brandon what wheels are. These are original OMF wheels with the Phase 5 rings on them. So gray rear rings, blue front rings, gray Phase 5s. Ron Starner, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. It's like watching outside and finding a neighbor washing his rare supercar. You're intrigued, you watch, you wonder, but yet you truly cannot comprehend. That's funny. If I showed you all the current state of my Ripper, you'd cringe. It is very, very dirty. It is covered in mud. Okay. I just wanted to drop it in at least so I can, well, for one, I can make sure that everything still fits. But, you know. This must be a full Super Shafty bomb proof because it's got the Robinson's slipper on it rather than like the regular incision style. So you can always tell with how heavy those spur gears are. When you spin them, you just like feel that spur gear. Like, Jesus. TIG welding shock hoops on a bouncer. What should I use for the mount? Shaped washer or a nut? Oh, for the actual... What I like to use is if you go get 1/2-inch square tube from Home Depot, you can get 1/2-inch square tube and you cut just the bottom of it off so it leaves you the U, and then you can actually cut from the side and shape it to fit on another tube, and then it gives you a double shear shock mount. It was always my favorite method. Okay. Oh, damn it. I gotta spin it. Carefully, carefully. Gotta phase our drive shafts. Okay. Drive shaft 1. This is the problem with any caged vehicle. Working on it. It can be, especially when you're trying to be extremely careful. Such a pain. Okay. And of course doing this after the fact. And, you know, I already had the transmission installed once. I should have just... There we go. Come on. There we go. Just get one screw started. Then everything is simpler. So Josh, do you have a file for a low CG battery tray for VS410 with VFD no dig? Seems like there's room to drop the battery tray down a decent amount. Would be that's a good question. I have not done that. I guess both of my VS410 Pros use a dig, so I haven't done that. And so for me, I run my battery tray on the, or I run my battery on the side. The side electronics trays have the little battery strap retention, so that's where I run mine. I actually don't run a cross battery plate in some of mine. Oh, we have to hook up the sway bar still too. We haven't done that. Maybe we'll do that today as well. Is that cage painted? It's anodized aluminum because it's milled. It started as 3 blocks of aluminum as well, and then the body panels, the side body panels were 1 piece of aluminum, and the hood was another, the grille was another. But basically, all of the blocks of aluminum to make the cage and body panels would weigh about 100 pounds total. So, Brandon, I spent a ton of time planning this build and even more time searching for all the parts I wanted to put in it. Most of the stuff going into this rig is difficult to get a hand. So that's what I had said a little bit earlier with like calling some of the things unicorn parts. These shocks I didn't know much about. Brandon told me a little bit about them, and I actually talked to the guy from Australia who built them. They're kind of a cool shock. They're not just like a normal King RC 4-wheel drive or anything like that. They're actually like a modified shock. They work really well. They're smooth. They're a cool shock overall, but they're a special shock. It's got the MS Tech frame rails, which are rare. These lights, they're Q series, but they're actually the clear Q series, which is much harder to find, and they have the more LLC upgrades done to them. Very rare. Obviously the OMFs, it's got gray rock jocks on it. Those are much harder to find. I mean, there's a lot of little pieces that went into this that were super hard to find and very cool. Okay, now that we've put the motor in, we need to install these mounts. Shit, I just remembered. I was thinking about this yesterday, and when I pulled out the transmission, I was going to gain access to this single upper link screw, which is currently blocked by the drive shaft. So I've got, my hope is that I can remove the drive shaft and get to the screw. Otherwise, we are going to have to pull the transmission again, but I don't think that we'll have to. All right. Drive shaft out. The one screw on this side, I have to use a button head screw. It's this one here. So I have to use a button head screw from the inside to the out because there's not enough room to clear the drive shaft with a nut on the back side. It's very tight tolerance. So I think that we're going to be able to get it. We're going to loosen it with this box end. There we go. Because I'm at a bit of an angle with the driver. I do have a ball end 2.0, but it's shorter. There we go. I'm glad that we only have to do this one more time. I think that I might be able to get a nut driver on this for the next time, the last time. Gary Shoemaker, thank you, sir. I said good morning, sir. You're like the guy in front of my local gas station. He only says good morning if you give him money. I'm very concentrated today. This is... Working on rippers is special, right? Which, I'm kind of joking, but I'm not joking at the same time. Especially when it's somebody else's. And it's... I mean... The amount of money that these things are worth now is insane. And when it's somebody else's investment, I feel obligated to be extra cautious. But I will try and do better at watching comments today. I do enjoy these cars. As much of a headache as these cars were to me the first time around, I still enjoy them quite a lot. Wait, this dude has 2 rippers. Let's get him. Yes, Brandon, I believe, does have 2 rippers. I'm sure he's probably said it in one of the comments that I missed, but yes. I think I know one person who has 3. I think that is the most that I've heard any one person hoarding. Okay. So we need to replace the screw with a longer screw, which that one is not longer, because we need to make up room for the length of that mount. There's one. So. All right. So much. First time around, you mean there's going to be a second? No. I mean, like, that. Don't twist my words, Brian. I mean, when I actually had to deal with every one of these things as they left the facility. That is what I mean by first time around. No, they will not be making a return. Screw is in position. Now I can slide the 3D printed mount on. There's 2 different ones. There's a left and a right, so I gotta be careful with that. Damn it. Pull the screw back out. Make sure I'm grabbing one that I tapped, not one of the extra ones I made. I thought it was Stripper Sunday. Mark Anthony, thanks for joining. Always good to see you. So we are going to put a washer and a lock nut on. We got to get this thing snugged, and then I can actually position it. There we go. This is working much better. All right. Snugged. Now it's rotated up. Perfect. Haha, success. Is this going to be a shelf queen? I do believe that Brandon said that this is going to be a shelf queen. I believe he has a ripper that he runs, and then he has this perfectly pristine new one with all of the fancy rare parts. So I'll give him that, right? Just stick it to a strong magnet for... Oh, yeah, if you're trying to magnetize tools, yeah, stick them to the... But I'm using stainless hardware, so you're going to need a really strong magnet for that stainless. You know, I know that there's some stainless that's magnetized, but not this. When will the grasshopper auction be happening? Brian, I bought all the electronics for that. I need to apply the decals, and then pretty much ready to go on that one too. So I worked on it while watching a series the other night and just kind of buttoning some stuff up. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, we're going to take off this other upper link, replace the screw, and put the mount in. Ooh, there we go. Should work. Let's grab the correct mount. That. Got it. The MS Tech has 4 positions. Ooh, that's too long. That will rub the pinion. That should work. Just barely. I have a Ferrari that I drive, but this Lamborghini just sits in the garage. Everyone else. You know, I get the analogy. At the same time, I understand. But, I mean, collector problems, right? I'll trade a kidney for a ripper. I don't know. When is Vanquish going to release a new truck? You'll have to tell me, like you'll tell me. That is correct. I will not tell you. Oh, I don't have the bumper in on this one yet, so I'll have to make sure. Yeah, even if there was a new truck coming out tomorrow, I would not tell you on this stream. And I've always maintained that same approach. Okay. I am looking forward to how this is all gonna look when it's done though, because I actually really like this little tray and how it's going to allow the electronics to sit. Putting the electronics in a ripper is a pain in the ass. Not going to lie. It's like the guy who designed the cage wasn't concerned at the time. Come on. Okay. I've got the drive shaft aligned. I just have to get it on the actual output of the transmission. Finally. All right, little Loctite. We'll get that drive shaft back on. Hey, Matt joined us. I'll tell you all it. Yes, Matt will let you all know when a new Vanquish truck is going to come out. He's the one to ask, not me. There we go. Matt, you're filming an episode of What's on the Bench before. Oh, you're going. There you go. Yeah, episode of What's on the Bench to show off your blue Willy. And then Matt is doing a live build on the carbon fiber drag chassis. That same one that I used a couple months ago. I'll go join in over there as well. So. Did he have opposable thumbs? You never know. Okay. Ooh, taking off the roof was a good idea. Okay. That mount rotated up. Snugged. 3 down, 1 to go. Shit. Well, it was a good thing that we installed the motor. That motor is absolutely right up against that. Oh, it's too dark in there to see. Let's. That is an issue. That is an issue and a bummer. You know what, though? There is room to make it work, I think, if I use a button head screw from the inside. Which means, guess what? Guess what? Ah, damn it. That means I have to take out the whole transmission again. It's worth it to do it right. I'm just mad about it. Ah, what a pain in the butt. Oh, we heard nothing when I changed the view. Oh, all right. Well, noted. The motor is right up against the upper link. The upper link mount as it comes up. It's I mean, obviously this aftermarket chassis, you know, like when it was designed, that stuff just wasn't. Okay. Brandon, I'd say you owed me a beer if I was drinking beer anymore. But I'll let it slide. And we need a button head that length, which I don't have right there. I'm out of that size. This, again, slightly inconvenient. Do I have any in my other screw bin here? Okay, plan B. Okay, we actually are going to have to dig through... there we go. I have to dig through a little container of like spare screws. That's okay. We've all been there. A box of wine. Ooh, that screw's way too long. Maybe I do have a screw that's the right length. Next challenge, fitting a PC into a ripper. That is what I'm working on the rest of the day, is the RC PC. Dang it, I need just a... How am I out of that length screw? Evidently, that's just one I need a lot. I should make sure and get more. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Okay. We're in better shape now. Will this shelf queen have a glass case over it? Mission Impossible music? Cue the Mission Impossible music. That's pretty good. I prefer like Ocean's 11 style. Okay, let's try this little acrobat move. Damn it, dropped the washer. We're just grabbing another washer because I don't want to flip this whole car over at the moment. Okay. Attempt number 3. Brandon, you're going to have to choose your pinion size to make sure that it doesn't require scooting this thing over anymore. Okay, we got it. Transmission back in for the, what, 3rd time now? 2nd time today, 3rd time total. Lining up the drive shafts again. Oh, come on. Blue anodized diff covers would look nice, Chip says. That's an interesting one. We never have done any colors other than red. And then the other problem is that when you try and do that, the blue may not be the exact same. So you could end up with a bit of a funky. But I agree that it still would look good. Okay. Unstick my hand. Front came undone. What's over under on how many more times the trans will come out? Phoenix, thank you for always being helpful. Oh my God. How many more times will I have to hook up the drive shafts? That's the fun part. There we go. The transmission's definitely going to have to come out at least once more. Well, it could be wired in place, I guess. But not by me. There's so much wiring in this car. I told Brandon at the time, I said, I'm going to build you a nice electronics shelf for where all of these things need to go. But I'm not going to be doing all of those things. Because I think that somebody could easily spend 10 plus hours wiring this car with all of the lights, the direct power servo, well, there's 3 light bars, or there's the rear light bar, the front light bar. There's going to be one on the bumper, the Q series. It's great, Matt Fab. Thank you, sir. Looks about as much fun as working on a Capra, just way nicer. You know what? A little bit more room than a Capra, at least, but in all directions. Okay, so now we've got all 4 of the 3D printed mounts put in place, and we can now put in the carbon fiber battery tray. So you can see, cut out the serial number, and then I did countersunk screw holes for the mounting, so everything will sit nice and flush. Now, this one obviously more rigid than the plastic, so this one's a little bit trickier yet to get in. Fell in this time. It's like a dance. You kind of have to put it like through the window and then down and flat and Okay. And all of the mounting holes line up perfectly. Success. But let's just make sure that I can access all of the holes. Hopefully I have enough countersunk hardware. I do. 3. Make sure they're all the same length. Okay. My little screw container there, I have them all divided by size, but I have flat head, button head, and cap head all intermixed, just because having 3 containers would be kind of a pain. It's just a Plano hardware container, and then I fill the screws myself. So just out of bulk hardware, like the same hardware we use at the shop. And get them all started just to make sure that everything let's see. And make sure all the mounts kind of align perpendicular, parallel, however you want to. Goes. And we have one more to start, and then okay. F Charger Jordan, thank you, sir. Advice, please. How do I tell my family when visiting that my Blazer TF2 D90 G2 VS14 Pro Boat are not a Traxxas basher and to not backflip up a tree stump or full throttle release on? Ooh, that's a tough one because it's hard to explain how, like, they're not all RC cars are just made for like driving up and down the street, or I mean, I always like, I guess I have a couple of bashers, so when there is the basher crowd, that's the only one that comes. My Charger is broken. That's a good one. Just take a wheel off of all the good ones. Maybe I need to replace the tires. I did too many backflips with it. Blew a tire out I blew a tire out doing 65 down the street. Should have seen it. I think that's the best way. Just take off very noticeable parts. Okay, last screw. Everything lined up well and cinched down properly. All the screws are sitting flush. Oh, it looks good. Just gives that nice big tray shelf in there. Tons of room to mount all of those extra accessories. I like it. I really like it. It fits so well. Just it flows with the cage all around. It's nice and secure. Oh, that one needs another half a turn. There you go. Oh, that's perfect though. Oh, that looks so good. I hope that is really number 133. It is. Just checking. So they're lasered on the back, right? You see it right there? 133. Yeah. You never know. So. Oh, that really came out well. I'm super happy with that. Sometimes you just, you know, which 133? There's only one at number 133. I'll tell you that. Or is there? Or is it? Is it the duplicate or is it not? We may never know. Okay, we're going to put the roof back on this. Line that up. But are you chuffed? You know what? Matt always describes how chuffed he is. I don't know that I can understand chuffed the same way, so I leave chuffed to Matt. I thought it was not going to be produced anymore. These aren't produced anymore. This was one Brandon actually bought from, I don't remember who he bought it from. So this one shipped from us to somebody else, and then that person sold it to Brandon, and then Brandon sent it back to me. go. So I'm going to So the Mamba X that Brandon's going to use in here, if it were, I'd probably put it on the same side as the motor just to keep my, I'd probably do short motor leads just to keep things looking super clean. Yep. And it should clear the bomber interior still without a problem. The interior on these I've learned the trick over the many times that I have pulled mine in and out, and in and out. That, and then you flex the back up. It's a bit of a force, but oh, this one hasn't been trimmed totally yet either. But it's okay. So I usually trim just a little bit of the front corner on mine. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Oh, he's got a skull head on one side. The skull heads are actually bigger than any of the other heads that Axial makes. So it actually touches the top side of the head on one of the crossbars. It's not a big deal. It just makes things sit a little bit different. But the reason that I wanted to put that in there is because you can see how you see how that ESC is covered by the interior, but I can move it freely. It's not touching. So I just wanted to double check just to make sure that everything is correct. But good news is that it is. Everything fit well. And I don't need to change anything on the tray design. So I am going to pull the interior back out. And I'm probably going to, put the ESC in there with a tiny bit of double-sided tape. Easily removable, but just to see it in there. And easier to transport. Like I said, it's all probably going to have to come out anyway, but damn, this early? Yeah, on Sundays we do the early show, 10 a.m. It has worked out quite well because of all the overseas people. Normally the streams are in the middle of the night. Try and make sure that it's square when we put it in there so it doesn't look funny at an angle. There we go. Perfect. Need to make sure that that switch gets cut off, but I definitely need to come up with a version of this for my ripper though, just because that having that carbon plate in there, giving all of that real estate for mounting would solve so many headaches. So, because like right now my ESC sits on one of the boat side panels, which is kind of down at an angle and inside. Bit of a pain, but this would solve all of that and just make it even better. So we pretty much got that knocked out. I think the only other thing, I wanted to get the rear sway bar hooked up, so we need to knock that out. I want to probably put these panels back on because they're not going to be in the way of anything. That spur cover is awesome. Yeah, that's the regular VP gear cover motor plate combo. Nice little setup. Careful, careful. Sitting in a car in Target enjoying my car. Moose Jaw, that's the best way to do Target, is just be like, I'll wait in the car. Nicole hates to shop so much though that she's just like, no, we're going in and getting out of there. Nicole hates going to the stores. All right. Okay. One side on. There's a lot of loose wires hanging out in here already. That's how I shop everywhere but the hobby shop. You know what? If I wander into a Harbor Freight, I will find things that I didn't know I needed. Still nothing from the Wizard, Josh. Seems like, yeah, there was a slight issue, but I think we'll have that taken care of. It's just a small thing that needed to be changed. I think that it was found when going to production, but not a big deal. Simple change will not be noticeable. Oh, there's one screw. Best way to shop with the wifey is online. Nicole has fully, even our grocery shopping is all online now. And delivered. We don't have to go anywhere. And it doesn't cost any more hardly. I lost one of the shorty screws. That's okay. I have plenty of those. No more Harbor Freight coupons make it so much less appealing. Is there no more coupons? I feel like I've still found them. Is that... I have the same problem in the cookie aisle in the supermarket. Okay. Now for the hood. It's in the front tire. You could be very correct, and I will check that in case you are not just pulling my chain. Gotta join Inside Track now for coupons. Oh yes, well I do have the Inside Track, which I guess is nice. Screw is in the tread. Yep, it is. Good eye, Phoenix. All right. So we're going to pull the rear wheels off. Because I need to access the rear lower shock mount so that I can get a longer screw in there for the sway bar. Come on. Okay. And where's my little box end wrench? Did I hid it from myself? Nope, it's right there in front of me. Oh, open-ended it is. I am never home when the RC delivery happens. I have to go pick it up to drop off. See, that's why I have all of my stuff delivered to the shop. For one, it's just more satisfying. And two, I never have to worry about it being outside. Plus, I want to see it right away. The only bad thing with that for me is that if something's scheduled for a weekend, it's like, God. Oftentimes we have people working on the weekends. Sometimes, though, they're not like where the delivery people would come in, so they don't always get delivered. That's the only downside. There we go. What's your opinion on the TF2 Marlin Crawler Edition? I'm not huge on the TF2s, but I think the Marlin Crawler is definitely the best version from what I'm aware. You know, like personally, I would rather build a different platform underneath with that body on top. Like that would be my preference. But I still think that it's a good setup. And, you know, a lot of people have a lot of fun with them. So I just have a hard time with RC four-wheel drive's durability on axle components especially. That's my biggest thing. Josh, and so you can have cardboard guy remove all the evidence. Yeah. Yes. Well, and I usually have to bring a lot of cardboard from home as well. So a Shelf Queen, I can see the ESC is not connected to the motor, or did it? Oh, no. Yeah, all of the wiring on this still has to be done. All of the wiring still has to be, like there's the headlights, upper light, like I'm not doing any of the wiring on this. I just did that electronic shelf or whatever we're calling it. And then from there, the wiring will get done. That is just not the part of the build that I'm diving into personally. This is not my truck for anybody who is joining late. And so this belongs to Brandon Wilson. I built it live a handful of weeks ago. And, hey, Andy, gee, shocker, for the STL Sunday playlist fund. Do I not have a playlist for that? Okay. Noted. Noted. I will try and do that for you. See if I can get this started. Brian Sherwood, how does the battery get changed when complete? So that the battery is done through the hood. You got to take off those 4 screws. No other way around it. It's not the most ideal thing, but you know, this wasn't really designed to be it was just a car that we were building we were going to build a few of them. That was it. Definitely not something I would do on a regular production vehicle, but the hood goes on so well, everything fits so cleanly that it's not like a fight, so you can just kind of spin them in, spin them out. It's pretty quick to do, really. But it does require tools. Okay, rear sway bar is now installed. So these shocks are kind of set up in a, I don't know, 80-20 setup. So it sits low, but it's got a lot of extension. They're smooth too. I can't remember who makes them. There was a guy who like made them out of Australia. And I forget the details on them, but they're difficult. I also hate having Tamiya shipped. They don't send the shipping email till 3 days after I get it. Well, that's interesting. I've never ran into that. But I buy most of my Tamiya through A-Main or Horizon, so I guess I have not noticed. Wait, what happened, Alex? My weekend when things go wrong, everyone have a good... Oh, well, hopefully everything's all right, Alex. I'll talk to you later today, I'm sure. When was the Ripper made? The Ripper was initially made in 2017. 2017 to like 2019. So, there we go. Got both of those things accomplished. The tray is in. Everything is set. Pricey shocks, Chibs? I think you're correct. What are the axles? The axles on this are VP Rock Jock axles. Oh, I guess I didn't hook that up. I should hook that up. The VP Rock Jock axles with a 3D printed servo on axle mount by Jaybird, I believe. Let's go ahead and hook that servo up. My heart just came to trust. You're watching that guy again? There goes your paycheck. That's funny. So, make sure we get this aligned. There we go. All right, servo's hooked up. I think this is pretty much how it's going to go back to Brandon in this case. This thing sits well, looks good, it's got all the parts. I think there was one or two other little things that I was going to get for him, but that was about all. Pretty much wrapped up. Pricey's custom crawlers, yeah. I wasn't really aware of them until Brandon sent them, and then after the fact, someone had like mentioned what they were. Brandon told me, and then I talked to him on email or messages. So Bluetooth link, or you have to rip the thing apart to get to the plug. To get to the, oh, you mean for like for programming? We're looking at $5,000 truck with the servo on axle. So that was the one thing when this was initially designed. We did it for the F9 axles. We like released the F9 axles under this. And that was the whole thing. And like how I was kind of designing it for myself for the most part. And yeah, I wanted to just servo on axle because that was like how the F9, I wanted it to just be a, possibility for that. And that was the way. But yeah, all the Rippers, that's how they're designed, is for that. So, it was kind of like an Ultra 4 style truck. That was the whole point. The cage I designed after like a Twisted Customs style. And, Ultra 4 cars run hydro steering, so you don't run a pan hard. It was just, I was like, that's what I'm going to go. And then, goes. Are those Vanquish tools? Yep, I've been using VP tools pretty much all day. So, they're awesome. I love them. The bearing tip on the end is, once you use them, you understand how nice that is. Not for everybody, but I freaking dig them. Insure it. Yeah, exactly. That's, with everything that this truck has on it, all the things that Brandon collected that were hard to find to put on this, I would bet that he would be able to get 8,000 maybe for it. I mean, yeah, you may want to, you know, make sure you put a rider on your homeowners about it. But I got my VS410 Pro, putting a 3800 Castle. Is that too much? I personally, for me, I don't like that much KV. I usually like my absolute max KV would be like 3,500, but I much prefer that 2,700 to 3,100 KV. Like that's my sweet spot. Right now, 2,700 has been kind of my go-to because I'm running 3S or 4S, and on 4S, 2,700 KV is a blast. 3S, it's still great and just nice for long trail rides with a big battery. So that's my preference, at least. Wish the tips were whole shaft tools. I don't know what that means. How's the OMG coming along? It's coming along pretty well. I showed it a little bit at the end of Friday's stream. This one's pretty much wrapped up. Let's grab that. I'm going to put some of this stuff away, and then we'll grab the OMG. Put all this over here. So, I have you just keep putting Brandon's stuff all together so it doesn't get misplaced. So, the big thing that I did on this is I redid all of the aero underneath, and I did it all out of carbon fiber. So, battery plug, it's okay. So, you can see the nice, big, now shiny carbon fiber bottom. And then I redesigned the whole diffuser setup to be a lot cleaner, and the other side of the battery plug. So it's so hard to show this thing, but it's super rigid now. I mean, it's such a day and night difference. But the rear diffuser setup now is super clean. So these two runners right here, you can see that the bottom plate now, it comes back and then it actually goes around. So it's got like a 5-degree curve that starts back here and it curves down just slightly, 5 degrees. And then these two pieces here, they drop in this slot and then turn, and then they lock in. So they're keyed on the outsides. So then there's just a couple of screws that hold them in place, which also helps to form the curve. And then this center one here, it kind of does the same, drops in and it turns. And there's a little notch here at the back side that it like clicks into. So there's no screws on the outside that hold it. And there's actually just a plate on the back. It's a whole thing. The design on it was pretty crazy. worked out pretty well. I was happy with how it all went. But I mean, the shiny carbon fiber definitely looks just wild in comparison to the previous. Really need some aero tubing on that roll bar. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Shiny for now. That is true. Shiny for now. This centerpiece here is 1/2 mil thick carbon, and it's got a drastic upsweep. So the whole rear diffuser is more for style than like for real downforce or anything like that. But it's, and then I also redid my side air dams. Now those are not 100% secured right now. So this side is actually, ooh. So this side is now on there 100%, but it's got these outside billboards that are on there. And then there's an inside one as well. And that's the, still a few little updates to make to finish up this side over here, but pretty close to done. That's going to suck when it hits a curb. Oh wait, that was man. Man, you must hate your job, right? So much fun. Now, granted, this stuff was all stuff I did afterward. This is done at home and at night, but still. But were you chuffed? One hell of a high-speed shin buster. Yeah, I do plan to redo the splitter up front in carbon, but I need more. My carbon's on the way. It has shipped. And then I'll recut this whole piece here out of carbon as well, just for that extra look. Amazing how well the wrap matches the actual carbon. I know what you mean. Now, the one thing is like now my rear wing back here, this is textured ABS with carbon fiber decal on it. And I feel cheap now. Like, I feel like I need to recut this out of actual carbon. I went full on with everything else. It's like I left this with a vinyl decal over plastic. So I'm like, I don't know. I think I need to do that. Best Tekin motor in ESC for a 5-pound comp truck. Ooh. That's a light one. I don't know. I guess that it really kind of depends on what kind of comp you're trying to do. That's tough. This is the old Aero, and I liked this at the time. I thought it looked good and it was cool, but now in comparison to the carbon fiber one, it's just like, it feels like a rough prototype, and it's got a lot of flex to it. This is actually heavier than the carbon too. This is expanded PVC, which is lightweight in general, but not as lightweight as 1.5 mil carbon. So this is 1/8 inch thick, so 3.1 millimeters or so. So I'm a little less than half the thickness on the carbon. It's just way stronger. Would cutting holes in the rear of the body reduce parachuting like Honda? I mean, probably. I don't know that that's my biggest concern. If I cut a hole in the back of the body for anything, it'll be because I'm going to put a camera looking rearward. But I'm not really worried about it catching a ton of air in there. You know, I don't know. We'll see. More than anything, I'm very concerned about style. So if I cut out the whole back of the body and it gave me 1 mile an hour, I'd rather not cut out the back of the body, just so that it still looked good. When using the VS410 chassis TRX4 parts, you use the 10.2 links and then 2 extra that VP sells, correct? That is correct, Juan Rico. Yes. Carbon wing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that it needs the carbon wing, and maybe just a hair longer. Maybe 3/4 of an inch. Maybe going to the outside of the body rather than the inside of the bed, you know? Right now is here. Like I was thinking, like I could take it to the outside and then go just a little bit longer. Just a little bit extra. Kind of looks like a modern Jeepers Creepers truck. I don't know that truck. You could have kept that one to yourself. What's the main advantage of lower kV motor? For example, 1800 kV versus 25 kV. There's no real advantage. If you're not needing as much speed, it's an 1800 kV motor doesn't have more torque than a 2500 kV. It's going to draw less power, so it's going to be more efficient in that way. But it doesn't have more power because of it. So I have a Traxxas Stampede, and I'm trying to make it do 60. Any tips to tie? Oh, I'm not a Stampede speed person. I'm sure there's a ton of videos on it though. I would just search YouTube. 60 shouldn't be too hard to hit though. Bonneville Salt Flats, that would be a good time. I would not mind taking this there. I thought style was Matt's thing. If you guys remember, I won the vote for style on this. So, to Matt. Did you just paint the roll bar on the... Yes, this is just the stock roll bar painted black. I did a light scuff, painted it with some bumper and trim paint so that it stuck to the plastic well, and that was it. Carbon fiber wheel covers. I don't know. I think I like the style of a real wheel rather than the disc style. I mean, if I could actually get like real looking kind of moon caps, like it would be kind of fun, but I don't know. What axles would you recommend for an SCX-102? Honcho, Vanquish, of course. I mean, that's really just a style thing. Do you like the Rock Jocks better? Do you like F9s better? I kind of wander back and forth between what I like. Generally, I usually like the F9 style. That's why that's what's on the Pro. And what are we at? We're at 11:30. We got a little while. We'll probably go till noon, and then we'll wrap that up. What about adding a servo to the wing so it's adjustable, high speed for down? I think I wasn't looking for any more downforce on this. Well, for one, this thing's a heavy pig, so I don't think I need the downforce. The only time that I needed what I thought was downforce is that after I did the arrow underneath, the front started to feel a little light. So that's when I added that front splitter so that the air hitting would kind of push down on the front. And after I did that, everything smoothed out and it was just really good. Needs smaller carbon door. Oh, like M3 style Ricer door mirrors. It needs to have a slight angle to be more effective and remove 2 flats on the diffuser. It will work then. And remove the 2 flats on the diffuser. It will work. I don't know what you mean. I'm definitely not removing anything on the diffuser. Let's see. DTM style door. I think, yeah, right? Do you respond to Insta DMs? Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I should see just about anything on there. Couldn't you mill some disc inserts for those? I could, but well, like at work, it's just, I'm not going to do it at work just because we have, we run production parts all the time. So most of the stuff that I CNC, I do here at home, like, cause I have my little I have a lathe here as well. But it would be some work. They make carbon fiber crawler wheels. Yeah, I know, but carbon fiber crawler wheels look good for comp crawlers, but I don't think they look good for actual style. So that's the reason I don't like to go that way. What wheels and tires do you have and how much are they? You're talking about these? These are the Proline Hoosier drag racing tires and wheels. And that was kind of for style. So they're a short course style wheel. Now, all of these are going to get changed to reactions because back here, between these two, they can touch at speed. So I've got Crawl Innovations closed cell foams in there, which help reduce ballooning by a lot. But the tire itself still grows a little bit. So, you know, that, so I'm going to go to the reactions, probably run no foam, and I should hopefully be okay then. I might still run foam in the fronts just to make sure that when I have to steer, the tire doesn't want to just completely fold. But take it to the Encino Velodrome. This thing is best when going perfectly straight. I think that those the banked turns on that would be bad for me. I think I would have a bad time. Figure out the weight. Oh, like the weight difference between them? I did not, because I haven't. If I have to take this whole thing off again, I'll weigh it, but otherwise I have not. So I just got home from Harbor Freight with that hammer. Not bad for $5. Matthew, I guarantee you'll dig it. Sent me the Jeepers Creepers truck on IG. I'll look that up after fact. A box full of RC tools, still can't get home air filter part. Know if anyone makes a dig setup for the weird SSD scale? Nope. Nope. I don't think that there isn't really any decent digs out other than VP ones. There just isn't. There's none of them. They don't work that well. Let's see. Naysay. He is like many from Jeepers Creepers. Let's see. And where is? Oops. Hold on. I'm going to this. Let me find the. That's the Jeep. How does this look like that thing? I remember Jeepers Creepers. Wasn't that like, man, that like late 90s or early 2000s? I kind of remember. He's behind you, Jeepers Creepers, where you get those people. Yeah, I do remember that. That was a long time ago. Let's see. Gaffer's tape. Wait, what do you mean, gaff? Black Gorilla tape to the inside of the tires helps with ballooning a lot. Yeah, I'd rather just run reactions. Like, I'd just get belted tires and be done. It'd be easier than worrying about de-gluing and re-gluing. Like, you can just buy them done in a better way. There were 4 movies. Holy crap. Okay. Interesting. A modern version of it. Okay, I'll give you that in a loose way. With that being said, when will the VFD dig be back in stock? I'd have to. I don't usually do a whole lot of when is it going to be in stock questions, but I'm not 100% sure. Do you like the J Concepts creep body? I do. I do kind of. I mean, for what it is, I like the. I still say Traxxas needs to make this TRX version, this TRX6 version. Yes, I think it would. I mean, it's so. I mean, it's such a useless truck, but it is cool. I didn't show what the. So underneath, I had to redesign a few things. Let me see if the overhead's. Okay, sorry. Fix the sound. Anyway. So I put the new motor in, and the new motor now goes from, the motor plate back here to right here, which is dead center where the servo used to mount. You can see the 2 screws there. Those were the previous 2 screws for the servo. So I had to, obviously, to be able to run this big ass motor, I needed to move the servo. So basically I kept the center point rotation of the servo horn, which was like right here. And now it just spun it around. So now it sits up here. So it's basically the exact same geometry. Close, at least. It's not exactly the same since the arc is actually moving the opposite direction, but spun it around. So I made this, I designed this carbon fiber plate, did that, cut it out, and then just moved the servo up there so it still clears. In the last version of the of this car, the ESC actually sat right up here. So I had to move that as well. So I came up with another carbon plate, and that now bolts onto the top side of the motor mount, and the carbon fiber plate holds the ESC and the fan. So the cutout blows down onto the fan. And yeah, the ESC sits right at the backstop for the battery tray. So it sits right there. Is that Max 8? VXL 8S, yeah. So it's the 8S system. But yeah, that's the current setup for that. Everything is in there. The only thing that I still have this battery plate that's done in that expanded, or not expanded PVC. That's just textured ABS. So I feel like maybe I could recut that in carbon fiber as well. Cut the wing in carbon. And that would pretty much get me almost everything that was just the regular plastic now in carbon. Just for a fun factor, cool factor, whatever you want to call it. But little things. I need to change out my radio still. I'll put the Futaba in there. But I'm going to run it at least once with the Traxxas setup with that, and then I'll run, I previously was running my Dynamite GPS as well. And the Dynamite GPS and the Traxxas GPS were basically right on, like within a half a mile an hour. So like the Traxxas, the Dynamite would run decimals, 1 decimal place, where the Traxxas just gives you whole numbers. So the Traxxas would round up, it looked like, but it would go from, 63.5 to 64. No inner fenders. Nope. I took all the inner fenders out to cut. I mean, those inner fenders are actually super heavy. So got rid of all of those just to clean up the air, anything that was getting into it, just to be able to let it move through. And I went to the TRX4 Sport shock towers all around. Yes. Travis Elliott, thank you, sir. Capra 19 or Wraith 19? So I am not a huge fan of the Capra myself. I don't enjoy working on it, and I don't really enjoy driving it that much. And I do like the width of the axles for certain applications, like under custom trucks. But I feel like the Capra needs so many things pulled from it. I don't know. So, but I actually do like the Wraith. I really like driving the Wraith 1.9. I sold mine, but then I actually picked up a new one when I was down in Scale National. So I've got a brand new Wraith 1.9 here that I haven't touched, but we'll get there. So it would be the Wraith for me, personally. I just the one that I like. Need the firmware for the Trackstar D-Spec TS4G transmitter. I wasn't thinking. Oh, I don't know what that. Trackstar. I don't know what that is. Traxxas motor. Yeah, this is their 2400 kV. Do I have the box still? No, I threw it away. I think this is the motor out of the eRevo 2, the 2400 kV long can motor. It was the biggest motor I was talking with Traxxas, and I deal with one of their marketing guys, and I told them that I wanted to revisit this for one last attempt. And I said, hey, I just wanted to see what the biggest motor you have that I could get in here would be. So they talked to the engineering guys, and they took a look at it, and they're like, this is the biggest motor that will bolt up into the motor mount and will clear the frame rail. Obviously, the length will be an issue. So this is the biggest motor that we could shoehorn in there, that they made at least. Obviously, there's probably other brands, but Traxxas, I mean, obviously, Traxxas sent Matt and I these 6x6s. They sent us the power systems. And so I'm trying to just keep it all Traxxas. 2200 kV? Is it 2200? Yeah, maybe the first motor was 2400 and this one's 2200. So, yeah, something like that. It's a 6S capable motor. I'll gear it. I'll change the gearing a little bit. I already changed the gearing in the axles previously. So, I was not geared to the moon in the transmission during my high-speed stuff. So, I've got a lot of range to go in the trans now. So, it'll be good. We're gonna get more speed out of this thing. We hit 65 with it previously. I feel good that I'm gonna be able to get to 70. I feel pretty confident. I've cut some weight out of it. We're gonna go with tires. I think that I was definitely losing some top end with the tires touching. So we'll get that done. And then just send it again. So should be worth it. Hopefully it's just as stable with cutting weight out of it. I'm not too worried about it at this point. I think that will be in good shape. I'm gonna just ease into it a few times, make sure everything runs smoothly. The only issue that we ever had was I stripped spur gears in it when trying to slow it down. Since I was running the Traxxas radio, their range is kind of crappy. So I was having to get up to speed and then try and slow down as fast as possible. And yeah. Do you think tires will be okay? I think the tires will be okay at 70. The reactions. I know that the drag racing guys are hitting 70. So I think that it should not be an issue. Fingers crossed. If I needed to, I could go to, some of the foams with. I have 17 millimeter adapters. I'd rather not run them if I don't have to, but if I do, then it's an option. But I'd rather not, just for style. I like the way that these look with the meaty sidewall. I think it looks appropriate with the body. Again, I like the style, so. Yeah, Wraith 19 is my favorite crawler. Mine is highly modded though, and it's almost perfect. Yeah, Traxxas transceiver range blows. It does suck. That is the one thing I was really surprised with. So yeah, with this one we did blow one tire out during all of it, but that again was, well, I think that was partially damaged by tires rubbing, but then definitely damaged by the burnouts at the end. So, my fault. Is this still going? Matt, you don't have yours. Matt is going to go do his live stream at 12:30 my time. So, 45 minutes from now, where he's going to be doing the swap to the carbon fiber drag car. So, yeah. I'm looking for it. It's pretty much, I just need to get 6 reaction wheels and tires, or reaction tires, and put them on a set of wheels. And then I can drive this. Other than wanting to, cut my new carbon fiber splitter, do the wing, maybe the battery plate, things that are unnecessary, but possible still. So that's the plan. What time? 11:45 on the dot. Feels like a good time to call this one. Not because Matt still said something, but because all the carbon on now. It is on. All the carbon is on there. So shiny, other than all of my smudgy fingerprints from just sitting here at night, just petting it. But I do still, oh, and all of the hardware on the bottom is titanium now. That's definitely unnecessary, but it was fun. I bought, what did I buy? I bought 150 titanium screws. So, not too bad. I think it was worth it. And, you know, it makes just a little bit, it makes it all make a little bit, well, it's a cool factor. Really, that's all I care about. It sounds cool on the internet. It's carbon fiber and titanium on my Traxxas 6x6. What's Friday's build coming up? This Friday, we have got a Tamiya kit from RC Patina guy. He painted it. It's the Alpine A110. And he did a full, you know, barn find style paint job on it, which is going to be kind of fun. So that will be this Friday. Looking forward to it. Jeremiah, what's going on, sir? I just got here. Can't end now. What? You're late. What's going on? What am I rubbing? Oh, I know what that is. That's okay. Nothing to see here. When there's no weight on the truck, the axles droop out just a little bit and they touch just the edge of my diffuser in the very rear section. One thing I was deciding on is like, I could slam this thing more, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave it where it's at and just, I mean, the old one didn't really have many scratches on the bottom. There's some, but a lot of that is just because of this material it's not very dense. Like if I take my fingernail on it, you can see like that's a divot. Like I can feel the depression of that. It's not just a scuff. It's super lightweight. It's like signboard. So anything that I would have touched, it would have scratched this thing pretty good, and it just didn't really have that. So I think my ride height, I mean, that might have been a real that may be a real indication that I had plenty of ride height and I could have lowered it even more, but like Chib says, slam it. I know. I want to just for the stance. Just because, like, so just going from here to, I mean, that's all it's got. It's just that much, and that's on the deck. Like you can see that rear diffuser touching, and that the rear axle will be almost all the way up. So it's not that much, you know. That's why I don't think it's worth it. I don't know. Body drop it. Yeah. See, if it didn't have like all of this, the stuff for the side steps all like molded into it, it would probably be more possible. But I don't know. Maybe it would be. Maybe I could get 8 millimeters out of a body drop. Not a terrible, I mean, I technically have, when Traxxas sent Matt and I these cars, they sent us unpainted bodies as well. So, get in your hole. Like, get that slant. As long as it's faster than Matt's, that's all that counts. Matt's now is back to a crawler, so I think that I'm definitely faster already. His is back to 11 miles an hour top speed. Which is faster than how his ended. Chop it, lower the roof. Not a chance. Not with a Lexan body. Super scale it, then lower it on demand. Can you imagine putting the super scale on this with 6 servos at high speed and all those forces just bang. Whew. You can just imagine one servo blowing a set of gears and the whole thing just looping out. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to end this thing. That's, yeah. Thanks for joining on a Sunday. Always a good time. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And yeah, let's go join Matt's stream in 40 minutes while he struggles with a drag car. There's so many possibilities to give Matt crap about trying to go fast. It's going to be great. All right. That's it. Appreciate it, guys. We will see you on the Scale News. Later.